What is up, dudes? Efficient in the field, coming in hot from a sweatbox filled with flies. It is 100 degrees today, dudes. So y'all are going to see me swatting insects throughout this entire video. Here's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to get more into off-grid living tomorrow. How to get this done right away. Because I got plenty of comments about people saying they wish they could do it, but they can't. They got kids. They got a mortgage. They got all these responsibilities. Like, they can't do it. And I'm here to tell you that you can do it. Pretty much everybody out there could get this done. So if you need that little extra bit of motivation, hopefully this video will give it to you. And if you have a lot of excuses and you want to stick with those, that's fine with me. It's no skin off my back for you to not go out and rock the off-grid amazing lifestyle that it is, especially on the road traveling. No skin off my back if you don't do it, but by the end of this video, you're not going to be able to say you can't get it done anymore. That's just going to be gone. All right? Let's get right after it, dudes. Just how easy is this? Just how easy is it? Well, again, we'll use truck campers as our example in this video. And what we're talking about, guys, is the formats I listed in my previous video. Like how to get your ass off grid tomorrow, basically. It may not be tomorrow. It may take you a few weeks. It may take a few months, especially if you have to sell a whole bunch of shit and make other arrangements. But basically, you can go out and use any of the formats I talked about. Truck campers, travel trailers, sailboats, van life. And there's some additional ones. There's RVs. I'm not big on RVs for my own reasons. I'll probably get into that in a future video. I don't feel they're as versatile as the other options. You can even rock this in the back of a Suburban or a pickup truck bed with a camper shell on it and a mattress in the back. There's plenty of people doing it. And I've done plenty of overnights in rigs like that as well because I wanted to, and it was going to save me money on gas, and it was a short trip. Short, meaning like 2 weeks, okay? So I've done that as well. It can be done. It can totally be done. But let me use truck campers as an example of how easy this is. You can get out there and you can get yourself a early 90s old body style Ford F-250 that's got quite a bit of miles on it. 4x4 for $4,500. Not in perfect condition, obviously. You got some wear and tear on it, stuff like that. Might need a little bit of work. But you can get one for $4,500. And it is not hard to buy an older truck camper for $2,000. I bought my first truck camper for $475. It was a 1974 Caveman 8-foot camper. So for a long bed pickup truck. And had to do a little bit of caulking. Not the kind of caulking you're thinking about, the stuff with the gun, to seal it up. Had to cut the old stuff out and use a nut driver to back off the trim and all that. Took my wife and I a day and a half to get it done. And so we saved money on the camper because we bought one that needed a little bit of work. And bam, we were in business. Everything worked on it. The fridge worked. The catalytic heater worked. The sink worked. The pump, all that stuff. Golden, man. So it's not expensive, for one, to get into this. It's just not expensive. And for those of you that are like, oh, I can't afford that shit. Well, when you stop eating at Jimmy John's every day and stop going to Starbucks every morning and you start saving money, you spend the extra 30 minutes every evening packing yourself a lunch and getting up in the morning and making your own coffee and cutting and saving money in small places like that, you're going to find that you can get this done. And it's not going to take you that long to save the money. And that's if you don't have any real assets right now. If you have assets, it's a whole different ballgame, man. You flip some assets, boom, you get the rig. And why do I suggest that you jump into one of these formats, one of these rigs? Here's why, guys. Lots of people out there think they want to live the off-grid lifestyle. They think they want to grow their own food. They think they want to raise animals and butcher their own, critters for meat and stuff like that. And they jump all in, man. They sell their house that's on the grid. They invest in some big off-grid property and pay some, construction dudes to build the freaking place. Maybe they go so far as paying someone to design the house exactly the way they want it. Or they get into those, the weird kind of cool shit like straw bales or what's the slip form stone construction, whatever it's going to be. And they go do it, and they find out it's not for them. They spent 5-6 years doing it, and at the end of it, they're just like, this sucks. This is not for me. I'd rather have a job and be living on the grid. It's just easier. All right? And what I don't want you to do is go take every asset you have and flip it into the unknown. It's much easier for you to start out small with an affordable rig. And here's the other thing, guys. If you're rocking some like 2023 freaking Toyota 4Runner or whatever the hell it is they're making these days, and you decide you want to go buy some brand new, 27-foot travel trailer, again, you're jumping into it with a lot more cash than you really need to use to kick this off, dudes. Everything you own does not have to be brand new. It doesn't. There's a lot of money to be saved by buying used and buying older. And just learning a little bit of the skill that it takes to, do minor repairs. Okay? And you're going to want to have those skills anyways, living an off-grid life. If you're buying everything brand new, and you're paying other people to do all of this shit for you, what did you really learn? You didn't really learn anything. You didn't learn how to be self-sufficient, man. You got to get your hands wet somewhere, and it might as well start with you buying an older rig and doing some minor repairs to get it ready to go. Kids, let me address the kid excuse. Oh, I've got kids now. I can't do it. Nope, wrong again, because guess what? Efficient in the Field did. I lived off-grid in these formats with either 2 full-time kids up to 5 kids. And it wasn't 5 full-time, it was 3 full-time, but 2 additional kids for the entire summer, which is a long-ass period of time. And during this point in time, we homeschooled. Oh, shit. We actually did do 5 kids for more than half of the year. More than half of the year, guys. And we homeschooled, because it made sense. It doesn't make sense to be living out in the boonies and have to go drop your kid off at school every morning. You're not really saving much money then, are you? I mean, you're still saving money by not paying rent or not paying for that mortgage. But it's much more of a pain in the ass. You're better off educating your kids on your own. And why? Well, for one, they're not going to be indoctrinated by the public education system. And for 2, all of a sudden, you're living a different way than you've ever lived before. As a matter of fact, you're living a life that more resembles the U.S. like 60 years ago to a degree, because you can support your entire family on one income easily. So that frees up one of you to homeschool kids. That's right, guys. Homeschool them off-grid. And traveling around and living all over the place like my wife and I did, a lot of people worry about not having a P.O. box like close by. They feel like they're going to go into some other state. Oh, we need to get a P.O. box right now so we can get mail. No, there's those Amazon boxes. You can use those Prime boxes where you can get stuff shipped to like Safeway, and there's like a little Prime, friggin' looks like a safe deposit box thing. You go in there, you scan your code off your phone, and boom, it opens the box, you pick up your shit. Another thing you can do is you can have things delivered to the local post office marked hold for pickup. We have done this all the time, especially when it comes to homeschool materials. Because traveling on the road, you only want to have so much stuff with you. You know what I mean? You don't want to be traveling with an entire year worth of homeschool materials. You travel with a semester, and then when the kids are getting to the next point, and sometimes they are year-long books. We've done that as well. But when you need to get the new stuff, you just order it. Have it sent somewhere where you're going to be provisioning anyways. And make sure it's there by the time you're going into town. Bam, done. Space. Let's talk about that, because you're obviously giving up the space that you have inside of your home or your apartment now for a smaller living space. But are you? Are you? Especially if you're living out in the boonies now. All of a sudden, you're in a place where you've got your truck camper. And yes, I did 2 kids in a truck camper full time. My wife and I and 2 kids. And dogs. Okay? Can totally be done, pimps. But now you've got your truck camper parked in some little green meadow just filled with mint. And that's part of your living space. It is your living space, with the exception of days where you have some really bad weather conditions. And what do you do then, guys? Well, you make sure you have some board games that are small. We like the Settlers of Catan travel version, card games, and puzzles. Puzzles is another one. We go pick up puzzles at Goodwill for a couple of dollars. Use them on rainy days. Sit around the settee. Just the 4 of us. Me, my wife, and 2 of our kids. Put a big-ass puzzle together, while sipping on coffee and hot cocoa all day long. And letting that catalytic furnace just keep the place warm. You're going to be closer to your wife, and you're going to be closer to your kids. And I will tell you that some people didn't marry right. They didn't. They're not married to one of those people that they can spend every single day with. And if that's your situation, then this might not be for you. But if you're the person that actually loves the shit out of your wife, or your husband for that matter, and you wish you had more time with them, this is a for sure way to get that. It is, and your kids. Imagine being the one that educates your own children. Seriously, dudes. It's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame, but you can do it. You can do it. No, you don't have to have a degree to educate children. You don't have to do that. And the studies, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, they're not socialized well. Homeschool kids end up awkward because they don't get enough socialization. Bullshit. Who's heard of NHERI.org? National Homeschool Education Research Institute has tested all kinds of kids from public schools and homeschools, and has found that kids that are homeschooled have 40% better social mobility than kids in public school. That's right. That's right. They actually have more social mobility. And why is that? Well, that's now because they're hanging out with adults all of the time instead of shitty peers that are being raised by half-ass parents that do a half-ass job on their children. I'll tell you what, guys, I've seen our kids sit in the cockpit of a sailboat at 4 years old and have a discussion about sailing with dudes in their 70s and just shock these guys. Seriously. Because they pick up so much shit. They learn. Kids are like sponges, man. So now when you take them out of this institutionalized education system that most of us have our kids in, and you homeschool them, all of a sudden, they're just soaking all this stuff up, man. It's pretty amazing. Let's get into the next excuse. Oh, I own a house. I got bills to pay. I own a house. And it's furnished, and I got all this shit in it. Do you know what I'm about to tell you? Airbnb that sumbitch. Airbnb it, man. You don't need to be there. You don't need to be living in it. The damn thing's furnished on top of it. It's going to depend on where you live, because some places obviously just aren't going to see a lot of Airbnb traffic. But if you live in one of the places that do, it is not going to be hard for you to cover your mortgage and more using Airbnb, and it will not be hard to find somebody that will come over for you, change bed sheets, clean out the microwave, from those dirty freaking people that rented the place last and just didn't give a shit about the microwave. You know, it's not hard to do, guys. There's a way around everything. All right, there's a way around everything. Let's talk about how rocking one of these mobile formats can benefit you as a survivalist or a prepper, because that's what this channel is really all about, right? And it's about off-grid stuff too, guys. That's one of the things that I began talking about in the beginning of this channel, or maybe it was my TikTok or whatever. My off-grid experience, I consider it to be the most important experiences I've had when it comes to my survival skills and my prepping skills today. Okay, so how can this benefit you? Rocking one of these rigs. It gives you additional options. What's a survivalist again? It's a guy that's not really prepping, and he's going to, have to try to make it the hard way on his skills and what little equipment he has if the shit hits the fan, right? That's what a survivalist is. Well, now if you have a truck camper that's loaded with propane, at least enough to get you through 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, you can even have more in the back of your pickup truck, in your back seat or whatnot, you have more of a mobile home. And dudes, I'm going to do a video on what you really want your bug out camp to look like if you have to bug out. We don't want to bug out, but it's good to have the ability to get it done and to be drier and more comfortable after you have to execute that bug out, right? So having a truck camper, having a small travel trailer, a sailboat. A lot of people don't think about that, dudes. I've been a survivalist for 40 years, and guess what kind of sailboats my wife and I lived on? Blue water boats. And for those of you that don't know, those are boats that can do ocean crossings, and we owned those kinds of boats for a reason. So that if we needed to, adios, man, we're out. My priorities are God, family, country. That's what they are. So my family, high up on that list, dudes. I will do whatever I have to do to protect my family from serious, serious hard times here. To include going to some island somewhere and living on birds' eggs. I don't give a shit, right? I like eggs. That's fine. My wife would probably lose 20 pounds. Anyways, dudes, these things give you more options, okay? They give you the ability to get out there. They also make it really easy to go camping. And if you're someone that likes camping, you just keep whatever rig it is you're using set up and ready to go. So at a moment's notice, man, it could just be one overnight with the wife. Get out of there. Take your little freaking boom boom dungeon out into the woods so the kids don't have to listen to any crazy ass shit going on behind your bedroom door. You know what I mean? Get an overnight in the woods with the wife. Most of these formats, you can have them set up and so ready to go. I mean, it's as simple as hitching up a trailer and plugging in the freaking lights. You know what I mean? Truck campers are a little more involved. They can be kind of a pain in the ass, but once you get good at actually backing in and putting that thing on the back of your pickup truck, man, it's not that difficult. And you can drop them and live in them in other places. I've taken mine off my truck. This is where I think you get more utility out of like a truck and a camper than you get out of an RV. Is you can actually drop your truck camper somewhere, lower it down, put it on some pallets, make sure it's not going to tip, and living it that way. We've done it that way. We've done it on wood rounds that I cut with a chainsaw, so the floor is nice and supported. Lived in the truck camper that way, and then we're just going to town in the truck, getting better gas mileage, using the truck to haul lumber and drag down trees and all kinds of stuff like that. All right, guys, you get more utility, in my opinion, with the formats I listed than the other two. You're absolutely going to save an ass ton of money on your power bills, guys. You are going to be going to a laundromat, though, unless you want to be out there in the river with a washboard and a bar of soap, which I have done the shit out of too. You could do it. I have a crazy ass looking bee that just landed on my tripod. It's not one of my bees. It's black and white. Crazy looking. At any rate, dudes, you know, things are going to be a little different. Things are going to change when you jump into this. But here's the thing, is learning to be adaptable is a good thing. It's a good thing. If you're one of those people that just does not do good with change at all, then you probably ought to stick to what you're rocking. Okay? But if that's you, you're going to have a hard time with the future that's going to kick off in this country, man. You really are. All right? I think I'm going to wrap it right there, dudes. The video doesn't need to be super long. I hope the audio wasn't too loud. I just looked down. It looks like I might have been yelling in this damn mic. You guys get the idea. I am going to get into these specific formats. I'm also going to cover all the specifics and the tips and tricks. We're talking like 12-volt power, what kind of batteries you need, what kind of solar panels, like the draw from refrigerators, 12-volt chest freezers. That's probably going to be one video. I'm going to get into your water system, having a head, dumping this stuff, where to dump stations. I'm going to talk about how to deal with cops if you're ninja camping somewhere, how to not get caught ninja camping, because I've done the shit out of it, dudes. All right. So you're going to want to see all these videos, dudes. Don't miss them. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Comments down below, please help us out with the algorithm. Make sure you like it and make sure that little alert bell is on so you guys know when I post some new content. And check out my Patreon in the description as well if you'd like to help support the channel. I do huge info dumps for patrons. As a matter of fact, this Saturday I am kicking off a late night live Zoom event where I am going to be drinking my ass off and just tearing it up with all my patrons online. I think that's the plan. Everyone's going to, bring your own beer and we're going to have a blast. So, it's the first event like that I'm going to be doing, but I can imagine that we'll do more of those down the road. So that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you on the next video.